Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of SevTech Ages. Today we're going to be building out some more of the immersive engineering machines, but before we get to that, I've been a little busy in between episodes here, so I've gathered up all the manilium required to upgrade our armor. We also have a little bit more left over in our smeltery, and I've also upgraded our hammer. So I put the lapis on there already, so that we have fortune, so that's nice. We have a little bit of the quartz, which I don't know if that's going to be enough to actually fully upgrade our stars, but let's go ahead and upgrade our armor first. So we are jumping from, where are we at right now? 22.56 on defense all the way up to 24. That doesn't seem right. Oh, you know what? Never mind. Yep. It's only going up by 2.5-ish or 1.5-ish or something like that. So it's not the best jump, but it's going to give us a little bit more defense, which hopefully is going to result in hopefully not taking as much damage. And you know what I did? I don't need the boots, because we're not actually going to change those out, because we still use these to bounce around. And if we do that, we're not going to be able to do that anymore. So that was my mistake there. But if we throw all this back on, do we have a full bar of armor now? We do indeed. Look at that. That is nice. Can we get our metal back? We should. It looks like it's going up, so that's a good sign. Let's also throw our star in here and see if we're able to put the full level on it right now, which I think is a 3 as well. Or actually, no. It's a 1. Oh, we don't have modifiers. Okay, so we're going to be doing a little bit more damage. I think we were doing 7 damage a second ago, or maybe 8, but we're now doing 9 damage, so that's nice. I also went ahead and built out a redstone clock in between episodes to help automate the gearbox thing, because this gives a signal to the gearbox to toggle it on and off every 50 seconds, I believe, or every 50 ticks. And that way, I don't have to sit there and flip the lever to make the bellows go up and down. It does that automatically, which is how I was able to craft up all the bricks that we needed for the machines that we're going to be crafting today. Alrighty, well anyways, the machines that we're going to be building today are the arc furnace. We've got a diesel generator, and then we also have a crusher. So I'm going to put these guys into this backpack so I don't mix them up. The diesel generator can go into our main backpack so that I don't mix them up. And then we can take our arc reactor, or arc furnace, not reactor, and go build this thing out as well. I also put together a whole bunch of the factory blocks, which is just smooth stone and iron. And I think that's what I'm going to be building the building out of, because there's a whole lot of different types of those blocks that we can make with our chisel. So hopefully it kind of looks all right. I have something in mind. It's just a big warehouse, if I'm being honest. But we're going to be using those blocks, so hopefully it doesn't look so vanilla-y. Alrighty, well let's go ahead and get our furnace placed down. So that is our first block. It's also a multi-block structure, just like everything else we've built from Immersive Engineering so far. So for right now, this is what it's going to look like, so let me smash this out real quick. Alrighty, well this thing is ready to go here, so let's form it. And right now, the only thing that's going to be holding us up is the rods that we need in this, because once we get the generator up and running, we should be able to power this thing, hopefully, somewhat decently. So we need these guys, which we can make in a metal press or the engineering workbench. Both of them require 4 of these ingots, and we get them by getting the dust, which we get the dust by squishing down coke dust in a squeezer. So that's cool. That's the same ingot. That's the same ingot that didn't have a recipe. So we're going to build out one of these guys as well. I didn't realize we would need one, but we should have all the stuff required to craft one of these. That's not really an issue. So let me get the stuff put together for that. But before we do, let me place down the other multi-blocks that we have as well. And this should go ahead and form into our generator. So this is going to be producing the power required to run that thing. I'm actually going to hold off on placing down the crusher for right now, because I don't really know where I want to have it. I know that I want a secondary generator on this side of the arc reactor, and I'm going to have the power cabling hopefully running through the roof, or we're going to have a bunch of those little pole things down. But for right now, we're going to leave that there. Let me go gather up the resources to put together one of these squeezers, and then I have to also grind down some of the coal coke so that we can hopefully make some of these the little pole things for that. Alrighty, well I went ahead and placed down everything for the squeezer, so let's go ahead and form that. We also have everything down for the crusher, so let's form that as well. And I went ahead and placed down a bunch of the building blocks that I'm going to be using for the build, because I wanted to try and space things out properly. Like our generator, I had to scoot it back by one already, because I didn't have it in the right spot, but we didn't build out the whole building just yet because I didn't exactly want to have a jump cut where the whole building was put together and everything else was still empty. So I'm going to try and place the machines down as I'm building, so that way I know how long it has to be. And if it's going to be super duper long, then I'm probably going to drop the next couple machines underground, so that way we don't have a building stretching from this side of the island all the way to that little island over there. I don't really want a giant building like that, so yeah, hopefully that's not the case. Anyways though, now we need to go ahead and either fuel this thing up or to be able to power this thing, or we need to go grind down our HOP powder in our millstone if it allows us to do that, because I still don't have any of that powder right now. So let me just go ahead and see if that's even possible to do, or if we do need to power this thing right now. Alrighty, well, in JEI, the only way of getting that dust is by putting it through a crusher. So we have to pull the diesel from this guy over to that, and eventually I am going to scoot this over into this chunk, because I would like to have more of the pump jacks down harvesting the oil. And we might need another one of these guys to process through diesel a little bit quicker as well. So this is pretty much going to get moved around eventually here. I'm just not yet at that point. So on the green side, which should be this guy, we have the diesel coming out already, and I just need to pull a pipe over to that. So let me go ahead and do that without hopefully mixing up the pipes again like I did with this stuff, because we had that going through the line for a little while and stuff was not processing through. So let me get to this real quick. Oh, that's not good. Alrighty, well, there we go. We got our diesel dragged over. I just got to turn everything back on over here because we are not processing through any of the oil, and we haven't been for a little while here. So that gets turned on, this gets turned on, and eventually we should have some diesel get produced. I think it might have to backlog this thing, which it's already backlogged. So we should have all the diesel going over to that generator, which should hopefully kick on any minute now. Well, hopefully there's enough diesel in the generator so far. There's no UI on it, so I can't quite check it. And it did kind of kick on for a second. We got some smoke there. We got this thing instantly filled up. So let's take our coal coke and drop it on in there. This should hopefully have enough to run. Again, there's no UI on this thing. Although we did just have a number pop up. Where did that pop up? Oh, it popped up on these guys. Okay. So, yeah, it would be nice to know how much diesel's in this, but can't exactly check that. All right. Anyways, we got to wait for this stuff to process through. Once we get 8 of it, which we have there, we can plop it into this guy, which, for right now, I'm going to move these things around as we get the building built out here, but for the time being, this should hopefully work. And I don't really want to touch these cables because I'm pretty sure this could kill me with how much power is coming through this stuff. But there we go. That's going to run. This only takes 1,600, or 16,000, sorry. So I'm not sure if these machines blow up because we have medium and low voltage stuff. We also have transformers we can build. So I'm not sure if we need to do that. But I guess we can find out. So, nothing blew up. It took the power. It's processing through as well. And we got one of them already. That is awesome. Okay. So, let me get these things processed through. We're going to get the things that we need. And then we can get that thing up and running. And hopefully get some of the ender ingots put together as well. All right. Well, there we go. We got our graphite electrodes done. Although they are half damaged already. Was that what the difference is between making them on this and making them on the table? Yep. Okay, I made a mistake. I should have made them on the table instead. That's fine. At least we now know that moving forward. I'll make them in the table instead of doing it like this. But this should hopefully be enough to get those ingots put together that we need for the next advancement. So let's plop those guys in there. That's kind of neat. Alrighty, well, from the recipes, it looks like we only need one set of the enhanced alloy, so we only need to plop one of those in and 16 of these guys. That should process through the ingot that we need. It also looked like it messed these guys up very slightly, which I think all of these were at 50%. So yeah, we only lost 0.02% on them, so that's not horrible, I guess. But anyways, there we go. We got our advanced alloy, or enhanced alloy, so there's that advancement. Let's also plop in a couple of these guys because we also need the basic ones for these recipes here. So we need 5 for this. We also need 4 of these guys, I believe, or maybe more of these guys. I don't remember how many we need exactly, but we're going to need a few of them regardless. So we get 4 ingots per thingy. So let me process through a couple of these. We're not going to do all of our ender pearls because I don't really want to go back to the end right now to get more. So let's plop that in there. And we'll get what we get. Alrighty, well, we got 24 from that, so that should hopefully hold us over. I might have to process through some of our blaze rods through this thing. I only have 7 more powder left around, so I might have to do that. But let me go ahead and craft up these 2 little workstations. I also have to go back on over to our astral sorcery area because we need that crafting table for the centerpiece, which I don't have right now. So we should have the resources to put one together. I think it was just some wood and maybe a click on the table with the wand there. I don't remember the crafting recipe exactly. Well, it's actually one of the Necronomicon rituals that we need to do, so let me plop all of these into their little sides. That goes up there, side to side, and that should... Oop, that's not what I wanted to do. Should allow us to craft up the recipe here. There we go. Cool. So we had 4,500 points left over in our Necronomicon. I haven't had to charge this thing because we haven't really been messing with it since our first little time messing with it. But there we go. That is the table. Oh, no. That is the table that we needed. Oh, man. Okay, so with that, we should have the stuff on us already to craft up that little table that we need. So let's get that thing crafted. We also need these guys, which I didn't have the Ender Pearls crafted up yet, or the Eyes of Ender. So we should be able to get a couple of those put together. I'm only going to do 4, I think, and then kind of go from there. Now we should be good to go ahead and craft this thing up, so let's do that. We got 4 of those made. That is another advancement done. So the next thing to progress the age a little bit more, or not the whole age, but the next advancement here, is to craft up that NASA workbench. So for right now, we're probably going to craft that up today as well. I'm not exactly sure, but let's get this... That's not the way I wanted that to go. Does it not go sideways? It does not appear to go sideways. Okay. Well then, let's go ahead and plop this guy down. And then I think all we do is place these around it. And it produces power for the crafting recipe. Although I don't see a power menu. But we did have to craft those to get this advancement, so I'm pretty sure we did something right. Oh, you know what? I completely forgot that we had to mess around with the pneumatic craft stuff to get this thing crafted, so we're probably not going to do that today. What we are going to do is jump around and collect some of the quartz as well as the silicon, because we need both of those to be able to even craft these things to craft this thing. So let me jump around, collect some of that real quick, and we're most likely just going to continue on making more machines for our immersive engineering warehouse. That way we can try and have everything running over there and we don't have to rely on any of this stuff over here from age 1. I'm also not going to go as deep into Steve's carts as I thought we were, because in this pack we have garden cloches, which I didn't think we would have, but we do. So with these we're able to grow a single crop on the inside of them, and unless it's disabled for certain things, I'm pretty sure we can grow everything in here except for trees. So all we got to do is provide it power, a little bit of water, and most likely some bone meal as well if we want them turning out crops a little bit quicker than normal. So that's what we're going to end up doing. The recipe is extremely cheap in this pack, so I'm going to put some of those together eventually as well. That is something that's really cool in other mods, but with immersive engineering, it kind of doesn't need to be used. And the fact that it only mines or farms 1 tile away, unless we upgrade to the Galgadorian blade, is not really something I feel like doing right now. So I feel like the immersive engineering cloches are going to be more worth our time to dive into. But let me go ahead and lay out a little bit more of our factory. We might have a couple more machines marked out. I don't know if we're going to have everything down from immersive engineering. We might, honestly, just so that we don't have to use that stuff at all. But we'll see here in a second. Let me get to laying this thing out a little bit more, so I can kind of gauge how much of a floor space it's going to take up here. Okay, well this should go ahead and give us another advancement here, so let's break that down. I was hoping the vein would be much bigger than that, but 3 stacks is fine, or 2.5-ish stacks is fine. Well, now that we have the silicon, we have all the parts required to craft up the circuits that we need to put together, but we don't have the presses yet. And the only way to get those, as far as I'm aware, is to find the meteorites in the world, which I haven't seen any, I don't think, so I don't know if those are even in the pack. But the other way of getting them right now is by doing the pneumatic craft stuff. So we are going to have to mess around with that. We'll probably end up building out one of the machines right now. But let's go ahead and throw together the inscriber at least. We have everything except for the flux crystals, so let's take one of these guys. We are going to need, I believe, a redstone and then also a nether quartz. So let's take one of those as well, and then we gotta go chuck this in some water. So let me just throw it out here in our little strip of farming stuff we have down over here, which should be just fine. So boop, boop, and boop. So in a minute, that's going to plop into view. And there we go. I thought it was going to do some lightning, but it just immediately snapped into these guys. That's fine. But there we go. We have all the stuff that we need for this. Let me grab my sticky pistons. Boop, boop, and boop. And everything else is upstairs. And let's go ahead and get that thing crafted up here. There we go. Cool. So the next thing that we're going to make is the pressure chamber, which is only some of the compressed iron, which we have a little bit of that, right? We have a stack and a half just about. For right now, let's only craft up one set of this because I'm not exactly sure how much of that we're actually going to need. It says sneak for info. We got a 3x3, a 4x4, or a 5x5 that we can build. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and build out the smallest version of the pressure chamber today, so at least we can start producing some of the items from pneumatic craft. But over in our warehouse, I went ahead and marked out everything where I wanna have it. So over here, we're gonna have the refinery eventually. On this one, we'll have the fermenter because that's the squeezer, and then over on these two, it's going to be the coal coke oven and the blast furnace. And then on these two, we're going to have two of the presses, so that in the event that we want to have like the gears and compressing of the blocks happening at the same time, we can have that happening instead of having to rely on only one press at the moment. So that's kind of how our warehouse is going to be laid out. I am going to do a second floor on the bottom because I need to drop this down there, and then we're most likely going to have all of these guys down there as well because I didn't really want to have a super long building like I said earlier. So that's where that's all going to go eventually here. Alrighty, well, let's go ahead and craft up this pressure gauge that we needed. So there's that. And then we are going to need a little bit more of those guys, but we also want to add a little bit of the glass into this as well, so that it's not just one solid block. And yeah, let me go ahead and build this thing out, and then I can kind of see how much more we're actually going to need. Okay, well, I don't know if this is going to form into a multi-block, which it did not, so it has no UI at the moment that I can see. So let me just break this, because it had a hole on one side, and it was facing... There we go. Okay. So that is our small pressure chamber. Now there is one other item that we want to craft, which I think is called a blow-off gauge or something like that, because we don't want this to blow up. There is a chance that it can, so we want to make one of those, which I think it's one of these guys here. This is the thing that we need to craft up here. So the recipe for that is relatively straightforward. We need a couple of things of gold, and then we should have that put together. I'm also building this outside because, again, it does explode if I do something wrong here, and I don't want that stuff messing up or potentially breaking any of the other machines. So for right now, it's going to be out here until I get a handle on it, and then I'll move it on inside just to make sure that we don't accidentally blow anything up. Okay, well, let's go ahead and see if this thing's gonna blow up on us or not. So we need one compressor. We might want to have more of those, but for right now, that should be fine. We're gonna plop it right over here, and then we should be able to pipe the air from it over to this guy. And we also want to have this somewhere in the line, I believe, potentially. I'm hoping. So let's hopefully not blow this up. We're gonna plop all of our coal in there. It's going to start producing pressure, which, yeah, the bar's kind of moving ever so slightly. Okay. And the pressure inside of here is also rising as well. So that is good. I'm pretty sure we can use this to make the compressed iron, which we need to get all the way up to 2 bars worth of pressure, which is going to take a little while. So we just need to leave this thing running. We do have other options on the compressors. So we have a solid fuel one, we have a liquid fuel one, and we also have a thermal one, which could kind of be beneficial, but I don't have ice, so I can't really set that up properly right now. We could put water and lava, but it's not going to be super efficient, I don't think. So for right now, I'm just going to leave this the coal one running. It's not producing a whole lot of pressure, but it is going to build up eventually, and then we can plop some iron in there if we need more of this. But right now, let's go ahead and craft up one of the arms, I believe, is the next thing. Or actually, it looks like the plastic mixer is what we need next for this. So for that, the recipe only requires 3 more glass, which I don't have the glass on me. So let me go grab that real quick. We can get that put together and maybe be able to power it, or we might want to have to spam down potentially more of these little compressor things. And there is our mixer. Okay, cool. So you know what? Preemptively here, I'm just going to take a stack. Oh, no, a stack, dang it. Let's take that. Let's turn all this into some of the furnaces because we can make a bunch of the compressors if we do need them. And I think we can just plug it into this line potentially, although it's not connected. Can we run it through the top? No, we cannot. Okay, we're wasting fuel. All right, cool. How do we power you? Is it from the bottom? So it looks like the plastic mixer actually doesn't run off of air, it runs off of heat. So what we can do right now is plop a lava bucket on the bottom here, hopefully heat it up a little bit. It's not going to be super quick, but it's going to hopefully heat it up nonetheless, which it is already doing. Cool. Let me drop all of our dye in there. And I actually needed blue dye, not yellow dye. Oops. Okay, well, that's fine. Anyways, we have this thing currently at 6 bars of pressure, which is not good. Why is that not bleeding out? That should be doing the thing. We're at 5. Oh, apparently it blew up when I went back to the base to grab some more stuff here. So that's great. I didn't even hear it blow up. So it looks like all we lost was the pressure valve. Let me very quickly put one of those together again, which we have the stuff in our inventory. Let me just plop one of those there. There we go. So, oh, that didn't snap into place. Okay, hold on. Let's do that again. Where'd my thing just go? Let's plop that there. There we go. Okay. So I'm not exactly sure why that didn't trigger. I think we have to give this a redstone signal, which means we have to build one of these things as well, because this is going to produce a signal when the pressure gauge is where it needs to be at, apparently. So that was my bad. We need some more gold and a little bit of redstone. That is fine. Okay, so let me get one of those put together. Hopefully we don't have it blow up again, and also get some lapis so that we can start making some plastic as well here. Well, hopefully this thing doesn't blow up again, so let's plop that there. And hopefully, when it hits the redstone signal, which is at 4, or actually at 5, it should trigger that and not blow up this again. The explosion also wasn't bad. I thought we were going to lose the whole machine. It looks like we only lost this guy. So if that happens again, it's not really that big of an issue. I thought we were going to lose a lot more and make like a crater in the ground, but turns out that's not really that big, so that's cool. Over here on the plastic thing, it doesn't look like we're getting quite hot enough off of 1 bucket of lava because we don't have any plastic in here just yet. We do have the dyes consumed. So, unless I'm missing something, is there anything else that we need to put in here? We might have to put something in here. Maybe we can mix and match the plastic from those machines over there. So, let me put it in there. And we have plastic now. We have all the colors to choose from. Okay, so it looks like we can melt stuff down inside of here to get the plastic, which if that's all the heat is used for, then we don't really need that then, because we have plastic being made in the other machines, and we can just port it into here and then dye it as we need it. So that's good to know. We need to make a circuit board, which is a whole bunch of these guys, which is black plastic and redstone. This is cyan plastic. Okay. The PCB is, what do we got? Green plastic and that. Okay. So is it going to be 1,000 plastic per sheet? It is indeed. All right. That is pretty annoying. But it's relatively cheap because we don't really pay anything, right? We just process our oil through and it gives us plastic. So we do want to kick this back on then so that these guys start producing. But to do this a little more efficiently, I think I'm going to plug it into our main power thing from that guy over there, because this guy is not really good at keeping this thing running. So let me kind of jankily pull some power out of our building. It's not going to look super great right now, but I just need these guys powered to run a little more consistently here. All right, well, I got both of these things plugged into our power at the moment. It's not the prettiest looking thing, but it has to work for right now. This thing also can get toggled back on so that we're producing the steam, and then that should start producing the plastic again, which for right now, I'm actually going to break this thing because I don't want to be producing the other plastic that we have in there. So hopefully we have this thing back up a little bit with some of the plastic. Oh, it only holds 2 buckets. Oh, that's horrible. Okay, well, dang it. We need that to build up a little bit. Our pressure chamber over here also blew up again, so I'm not exactly sure what I did wrong here, unless this goes directly on that little valve. So, where did my pipes just go? There we go. The pipes are over there. Let's plop this back. And then if we plop the little valve down, can we then place this on top of the valve? We cannot. So... yeah, I'm not sure why that broke again. There's no UI on this thing. I can't change it. And it's set to trigger at 5, but then this blew up at 5. So, yeah, not sure how to prevent the thing from blowing up again. So, that's cool. Alrighty, well, while I'm waiting for this thing to blow up, if anybody has any tips on how to actually do this mod, by all means, let me know in the comments down below. But I went ahead and swapped these guys around, so maybe it doesn't blow up this time. We'll see here in a second if it does or doesn't. But while we wait for that, let's go ahead and craft up these guys real quick. So I went ahead and broke down our blast furnace and our coke oven so that we can make the better versions of them. So let's get those guys and those guys put together. Let's go plop them inside our warehouse. And what do you know? This thing blew up once again. Although it didn't blow up on that thing, it blew up at the gauge. So that's different at least. I don't know what changed there, but okay. I'm going to leave this alone for right now because I really don't know why it keeps blowing up. So again, if anybody has any tips, by all means, let me know in the comments. All right, well, anyways, here is our coke oven, and here is our advanced blast furnace. So now on the sides of these guys, we can plop down these things. So for our blast furnace, we need 2 of these guys, and for the coke oven, we need 2 of these guys. So all we're missing is the external heaters, which is just a whole bunch of copper at the moment. So let me go put this stuff together. We might have one of these things laying around because I think this is what also goes into the radiator over there. So we might have one extra laying around. Okay, well, we got these things crafted up, so let's plop them onto our furnaces, and this should help produce the stuff a little bit quicker than we are currently doing. So another thing that we can do with these is also automate them, which is something that we weren't able to do at all with the blast furnace. So now with this, we should, I don't have any chests. Oh, I do have normal Adam, I can put those, but we could put chests on these or conveyor belts and have them just auto output. So that's going to be great. We need to also power these guys on the tops, so let me grab... oh, I might have to make more of these guys. So that's something I don't think I have the clay on hand for right now, but let's plop those there, and we should be able to power it through that. Ow, 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 ow. Okay, yeah. The wire isn't an instant kill, but it does do like 5 or 6 hearts when we do get hit by it, so it's a little risky, but let's plop these guys here, and... honestly, I don't want to have those going across because that's going to be really low, and I feel like I'm going to walk into it regardless. So let's go from here. We can go kaplow, and then we can drag this over to these guys. Hopefully, yeah, that's nice and high. We're not going to touch that. We can also drag this back over here, like so, and now these guys should be powered on as well, which they are indeed. Alrighty, well anyways, that is where we're going to be wrapping up today's episode. In between episodes, I'm going to dig out the room on the bottom here so that we have room to place more of the machines from out there in here, as well as probably the pneumatic stuff if I can get a handle on why it keeps exploding. But anyways, that is pretty much it for today's episode, so I hope you guys enjoyed as always, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching!